as Kath said, had the opportunity to go out on and do an actual home assessment. And since then, we've changed this, as she said before, it was just basically a checklist. And we went through and there was like hundreds of questions and it was totally overwhelming. So we tried to make it more visual. And if you look through, there's kind of pictures with numbers. And so it's kind of there just to trigger you to think about what you're looking at. What we're going to stress is that you're really there to observe and you're going in as a neutral eye. What I have found with, my own grandparents and just doing this is that people just get used to doing things the way that they do it. I mean, I do that in my own life until somebody points out, hey, maybe there's another way we could do this. Maybe it's better. Maybe it'll make your life a little easier. So you're going in as a neutral eye. You're not being critical or judgmental. You're just kind of observing. I see you're kind of struggling. Maybe there's something we could do to make that a little bit easier for you. And so that's kind of the way that we're approaching it. So I think this was mentioned before, the differences between a slip, trip, and a fall. And different things are going to cause a slip, a trip, or a fall. Slip, think about like water in a bathroom, or maybe a cleaning product you're using is making your floor slippery. A trip, a lot of times we see with area rugs, which is why we try to not encourage those. And a fall could be caused if your medication is making you dizzy or something like that. You're just falling from higher to lower. So we just want to remind you, for those of you who are in our MRC, this is what you're going to be going out with. And for those of you who are not in our MRC and are just so happy with this new tool we've created and you're going to join the MRC today, this is the tool you're going to be using. And for anyone else who's here, if you're starting a falls program, like we said, it's public domain. Please use this. We've put a lot of work into it. We're really proud of it. So feel free to use it. If you are in the MRC and you're going out, you're never going to go alone. Safety first. You're always going to have a buddy. And if you get to the home and something doesn't feel right, you don't feel safe, just call us. You're going to have all of our numbers, and we'll call and we'll take care of it. We'll go out. We don't ever want you to go somewhere and feel unsafe. And if you physically can't get past the shrubs, up the stairs or something, call us and we'll take care of it. We also never want you to spend any of your own money volunteering for us, so keep track of all your mileage and any expenses you might incur. Okay, so when we do send you out, we're going to give you this nice backpack with a toolkit. A lot of these things were mentioned before, just kind of examples of grab bars and hinges and little parting gifts, such as the pill boxes, a card to say that you were there, what your name is, the resource guide, which is in the next section of your binder, and any specific handouts. We're thinking of developing these to, if you're going to someone who has diabetes, you can leave this information with them, how that relates to falls. So if you flip to the next page, you have the opening questions. We tried to start off light. I think the first question is about pets, or are you left or right-handed? You're just trying to, build a connection, have a conversation. You're just there to kind of observe and befriend them and make them feel safe and say that, you're there because you really believe in falls prevention and you did a great job by calling, now let's see how we can help you. You're there to assess the safety of the house and how conscious your client is about preventing falls. You're going to gather information about emergency preparedness because you're part of our MRC, and that's also what we do. So that's the questions about, do you have 3 days of food in the event of a disaster? Do you have an evacuation plan? Do you have an evacuation plan for your pets? Things like that. And we put little notes in red under some of the questions that people might have a question about. And as an example, we say, do you have carbon dioxide and smoke detectors on each floor? And a little prompt there to remind you, did you know that the Red Cross might be able to provide smoke detectors? That's something I learned while doing this, but that's a resource that you can connect them with. These are things we want you to jot down, as many things as you think are relevant to preventing falls or emergency preparedness, so that when you do come to us after your home evaluation, those are things you can mention to us and we'll include in our letter and connect them with resources. Life Alert was mentioned quite a bit. Here's some examples of what they look like, and as was just mentioned, is it going to call 911? Is it going to call a person? Does that person have a key? These are things that, you just don't think about until somebody points it out to you. Okay, next we get to the personal assessment, which Chris mentioned. The copy in your assessment is in red, and these are, as you're going through with the client, kind of the, like why you're asking these questions, but you're also going to leave another copy of this with black here with the client. So it's something they can go back and look at, after your assessment's over, and when they read it, hopefully things will make a little more sense to them, and they'll learn things about how to prevent falls. So as Chris said, you're going to kind of just follow their lead. Don't push them too much for information, because a lot of times as you spend more time with them, they're going to become more comfortable and share way more with you. So if they don't want to talk about it in the beginning, it's probably going to come up again later. Take-home points from medications. As Chris just said, these medication cards are such a great resource. You're going to leave one with them. Hopefully they'll leave it in their wallets, maybe put it on their refrigerator. They'll tell friends and family where it is, just in case. You never know what's going to happen. But I think a lot of times as EMS bring a purse or a wallet if they take them to the ER. Is that true? So if they have it in their wallet, they'll have it with them?
Yes, usually.
Yeah, if they can.
I try to encourage you to leave as much at home as possible.
Oh, yeah.
But that medication are legal.
Yeah. Okay, so remind clients, feeling dizzy is not normal. Falling is not a good thing. These are things you can talk about with your pharmacist and your doctor. And encourage them to bring their list to the pharmacist and the doctor. All right, first quiz. Let's see who's paying attention. Taking how many medications increases a person's risk of falling? 4. All right. What types of medications increase the risk of falling? Yeah. All right. Name a suggestion to help people remember to take their medications and prevent taking double doses. Pillboxes, and we're even going to give them as a gift. Okay. Next is the task assessment, which looks like this. This is a self-assessment. They're simply going to do this while you're sitting there, and it can be kind of a conversation piece, but you don't have to have them get up and do it. This is, again, stuff that we might use when we're writing the letter afterwards with some suggestions after other things you have noticed. Below that is the blood pressure readings. You want to explain why taking the laying, sitting, standing is important and how that relates to falls, which you all know now. And just a reminder what healthy blood pressure is and what's considered hypertension. And that's all written here for you in case you forget. And then we start the tour. So then you're going to say, do you want to show me around your home? Maybe we can look at some things that might be giving you an issue, look at things that we can think about for the future as you're aging in place. Why don't you take me on a tour of your home? You don't have to show me anything that makes you uncomfortable. Remember, it's a conversation, and you're going to learn the most by observing, and then that will make you think of questions to ask. Just another reminder not to be too critical. Don't scare them. Don't be judgmental. Say things like, oh man, this railing is really wobbly, instead of, oh man, I noticed this railing is really wobbly. Oh, I just said this backwards, sorry. You don't want to you don't want to scare them. You don't want to be like, oh man, you're going to fall off. You want to say things like, I noticed this is wobbly when you lean on it. Maybe we can tighten it. And as we go through the assessment, this is the first time we're providing this training, so please give us feedback. Please give us, you're the experts in the room. So this is quality improvement too. So we're starting by the primary entrance, and as Catherine's sister said, a lot of this is going to be done from observing as you're walking up. This one might not be done with the client. So you want to check for, so if you notice each number corresponds to the question at the bottom. 1, do you have a sturdy railing? Are the stairs in good condition? Is the threshold, a step up? And it could be a step up, and that might not be an issue for your client, depending on how mobile and agile they are. So that's something that you want to observe. Is the outside lighting present? And these can all be conversations like, did you know you could put a motion sensor on that? And then you know, you don't have to forget about turning it on. You want to see if there's 5 is kind of in the bushes, but it's noticing if there's a ramp. Again, the client might not need a ramp, so just ignore that question if that's the case. Check to see if all of the walking surfaces are in good repair and the unobstructed view of the main entrance. And number 8 is another contingent one. Do they need a grab bar there or not? And that again is going to be based on observations of how they're kind of getting around. If the client has a mobility aid, that's going to be something that you're going to want to see them walking through the door. And then if it doesn't fit, if they have to turn it sideways, you're going to have a measuring tape. Maybe you can measure the entrance and the walker, say, and then just mark that down, and that'll be something that we'll include in our letter as maybe some recommendations on how to address that. And another note about the primary entrance, as we said, it's not always the front door. So when people call to schedule these appointments, we're going to ask, hey, what's your, where do you usually enter your house from? So you'll have that information hopefully going into the meeting. All right, here's your next quiz. This is a house that Chris just went to. Let's talk about the good and the bad of it. Let's start with the bad. They certainly are decaying front steps. Right? No railing. They don't look secured. Lots of clutter, right? There isn't a what? It's a pretty high threshold, right? And that's something that you just want to check in on how the person's getting around. Is there anything good that we want to point out? I like the positivity. All right, let's try another one. It's my dream house. Right, they've got the railing there. They just need to continue it down the stairs. Anything else? Threshold, yeah, that's pretty high again. Right, you can look out and see who's coming. What'd you say?
They look like some bricks.
Yeah, bricks are tricky for that walkway. You just want to make sure they're level and even, and if they're not, you can try to address that. Yeah, definitely. There's lighting, if you see in the top left, that's good. And you see how the stairs are kind of two-toned? You can see where the step is. Something to catch your eye. There's a doorbell. Yep, that's good. Yes, you can test the doorbell. See if they can hear. I mean, that's another thing. Can you hear the doorbell from each room where you're in? It's something easy you can test while you're there. How about this one? Isn't that a good one? Way too high. Way unsafe. Right. Yes, we don't ever want to see this. Stairs are in decay, but look, they have a railing.
It looks like it's in
A little high, yeah. All right, just some examples. And I just wanted to show you, sometimes people complain that the ramp is too long, but as Catherine's sister was saying, that's the code. Needs to be 1 foot for every 1 inch, so that's why you end up with railings or ramps looking like this. Okay, now we're entering the house. Again, you're going to observe the client moving around, and that's how you're going to see if they're having issues with anything, and ask questions. They love to talk. They're going to tell you probably the history of the entryway or something about something on the wall. So one, we want to make sure that there's no trip hazards. The throw rug by the entryway is kind of difficult because if you don't have something there, you could be trekking in water and dirt. So if you're going to have something there, you want to have it secure. And we've got some double stick tape back there specifically made for this. And that's a good way to prevent slips. You want to make sure it's well lit. This is kind of showing that it's not. And then if it's well lit, how are you turning on that light? If it's all the way over by that number 4 and you have to reach, that's probably not a good idea. So see when you walk in each room, check where the light is. Or the switch to the light. So let's talk about this one. What's good and what's bad? What's bad? Quite a bit of clutter. Yep.
The rail is obscured.
Yes, not a very functional rail if it's covered with clothes. It's there, it doesn't look like it's on. So you can check to see if it's working. And then this is another opportunity to have a conversation. So if that goes out, how do you change it? And hopefully the answer is not, I get up on a ladder and I change it. It's I call my son or daughter or whatever, and somebody comes over to help. How about this one? There's lots of clutter, yeah. Yeah, so could create a problem in a rainy day. But it's nice and bright. So we like that. And you've got the windows so you can see who's approaching your home. Not necessarily a falls thing, but a safety thing. And this is just an example of what that tape can do. You know, keep those corners down so you're not tripping over them. Okay, now you're going probably into the room where they spend most of their time. I want to remind you to observe the client moving around, and specifically, what are they leaning on, or what are they using to get up? So, number one, see the frills on those throw rugs? Throw rugs are bad. Frilly throw rugs are really bad, right, Chris? She tripped on one yesterday in the office. Two, you know, sometimes something can be as easy as just moving furniture. So, you know, if we're progressing to using a walker, you know, maybe if we move that chair over against the wall, we're creating a better and safer entrance to the room.
I'd move the chair in the basement.
I'd probably throw that away if you see the crack, yeah. Check for cords. That's an easy thing to just secure up. And check for lighting again. Now, do we have to turn the light on by pulling this? Do we have to walk through the room while it's dark to get to that? You know, maybe we can put the light closer to the entrance or get find an alternative. Number 5, so I think this was mentioned, you're going to ask them, where do you usually sit when you're in this room? You know, even invite them to show you where they sit, and then just kind of see, are they plopping? How are they getting themselves up? Is the chair moving in the process? Things like that. You know, if they usually sit where the wooden chair is, maybe we can move the sturdy chair to where the wooden chair is, and they can watch TV from there. Sometimes it's just a little tweak that can make all the difference. And this has specifics about the type of flooring in the room. You know, if there's carpet, is it all secured? If it's wood, is it not slippery? Are there no trip hazards? And if it's tile, is it not slippery? So here's an example of on the left we've got a threshold more than 1/8 of an inch, which Denise said is a no-no, and just kind of affordable solutions to that, you know, especially if you're using a walker. That'll just roll right up it. This is what we don't want to see in carpeted floors. That's definitely a trip hazard. Let's talk about this living room. It's loved. We've got a throw rug. Again, if they're not willing to get rid of it, suggest the tape. Definitely too much clutter. Looks pretty dark, right? That chair might not be the best seating option. So you're going to, once you get it, you know, all the rooms kind of end up being very similar. What about this room? Looks nice and bright. But that rug might not be a great idea. That's pretty thick. Anyone seen this? We've got the pet and we've got too many cords. And, you know, this could be, you could even work with them, say, can we, like, tuck this behind a couch? You know, do you need to have access to these? Maybe we can split them up, things like that. All right, now we're going into the kitchen. Again, you're going to observe. You can even ask, do you have any difficulties using the kitchen? A lot of times it's just relocating the commonly used items, which we talked about, between your eyes and your knees. if you want to check for stools, because hopefully we're not using stools to climb up and reach things, and if you are, we can move them lower. And a big thing which was also mentioned was the pet bowls. Are we using bowls that are keeping the water in, and you know, do we need to put them up higher? Is the pet get under your feet? That happens a lot. You can put a bell on them so you hear them coming. Easy solutions. What's wrong with this kitchen?
They haven't done the dishes.
Yeah, someone's got to do the dishes. When you have counters that are too cluttered, we worry about people carrying around things. So if we're carrying things, we can't use our hands, you know, to brace ourselves or anything. Or maybe you're carrying something that's hot and you're bringing it all the way over somewhere else because you can't put it on your counter because other things are on it. There's nice lighting here, though. I always think about the microwaves that are up that high. They're kind of nice there, but you know, if we're having trouble with our shoulders, maybe we could look into putting it on the counter. Yeah, that tile's not so good. Now, the person whose kitchen this is told us that her granite is very shiny, so they get the glare. So they've solved it by putting lots of things on their counter. But you could put, you know, like a placemat or something to just kind of block the glare to not reflect in your eyes. Stools don't look good, yeah. Those are definitely dangerous. Now we move to the bedroom. A lot of things in the bedroom is going to be furniture placement. You're going to say, how many times a night do you go to the bathroom? Show me your path to the bathroom. And this is when I think we're going to leave you with a flashlight. So, not a flashlight. Well, a flashlight's a good idea too, but I meant a nightlight. The one that we have in the back is great because it only turns on. It turns on by itself when it becomes dark. And then it even the light kind of extends out up the wall. But our suggestion is turn it upside down so you're illuminating your walkway to see if anything's there. So you're going to look at the height of the bed, and here's where, if they're willing, you can say, do you want to lay down and I'll take your laying blood pressure and I'll take your sitting blood pressure and then I'll take your standing. And hopefully you've stressed the importance of knowing this and they'll be willing to do that. Because by now you should be pretty comfortable with each other. You've gone through most of their home and you've been talking probably for 2 hours by now. And then if they do that, you can also see how they're getting off the bed. You know, are they struggling? Are they sliding off? And I have some pictures of grab bars you can use in this area. So looking for clutter, for throw rugs. I like when they put the throw rug on top of the carpeted rug. Probably don't need that. And just, you know, do they have enough room to move around, and can they access all of their things without stepping over other things? So, it's too small. Yeah. Maybe we could move some furniture around to make a little more space to get around. It's very dark. Yeah. And if they ever had a mobility aid, they're probably not making it through over to their dresser very easily. How about this one? Bed's too high. That depends on the person, though. There's no specific height. You're going to observe them. I like to point out that this light, we like to have a light near their bed, so you can't like reach over and turn the light on because there's a walkway in between. So just clutter, throw rugs. It's a bright one. There's a ceiling light you can see. So this is an example of some easy fixes if they're having trouble getting out of bed. And now we're in the bathroom. Now most falls occur either in the bathroom or on the stairs. So you want to pay close attention into here. You're going to look on the floor. Are there any throw rugs? Again, you're going to be wet getting out of a tub or a shower, so you might need a rug there. So we want to make sure it's secure to the ground. You definitely want to make sure there's no skid in the tub or the shower. I mean, we all could use that. That's not really an age thing. You can ask them, do you have any trouble getting in the tub? You can even ask, how do you usually bathe? You know, do you shower? Do you take a bath? Do you take a sponge bath? If they say they take a sponge bath, you can say, well, why? If the answer is, oh, I can't get in the tub anymore, then you can talk about their options. We talked about shower benches, floors being free of clutter. Check for any leaks, because that's how we slip. The handheld shower wand we talked about. And again, if they have a mobility aid that doesn't fit through the doorway, we would like you to measure the doorway and the mobility aid. And again, that's something we'll include in our letter. We like to see grab bars in here, and you can just, if they don't have any, say, you know, think about when you're exiting, would it be easy, what do you usually hold on to? A lot of times it is the towel bar, and then you can suggest the grab bars. While you're in here, you're going to want to test the water, and we have that little gun that you can test with. And just mention to them, you know, if you take baths, you want to keep the water temperature kind of similar to your body temperature, we've read, because anything over like 102 is going to dilate your capillaries and everything. I'm not the nurse here. But that makes your heart work harder, and same thing when it's cold. It's going to make your heart work harder, and that brings along other risks. And when you are shooting the water gun, we want to see waters below 115. So what do we think about this bathroom?
Grab bars.
No grab bars, yep. Got some throw rugs. They look like they might be secured down, though. Anything else?
I wish I had a bathroom that large.
Yeah, this one's not terrible. Maybe we could add some grab bars, and again, it depends on the person if they have trouble getting into the tub. Put some grab bars in. This one I just wanted to point out because this is really common. Helping yourself up off the toilet by grabbing onto the towel bar. We'll just put I mean, they even now have these beautiful functional ones where it's a grab bar and a towel bar. These are just, you've seen pictures of this now. These are the commodes. I mean, this can go over your toilet, and then it can also go into your bedroom. And these are the nice ones. See, grab bars don't have to make your home ugly. They have beautiful ones today. And these are the functional ones. We just wanted to point out that it can be pretty. Okay, stairs. This is the next most common place to have a fall. I think we talked a lot about that you need them to be even and intact at a safe height. Again, you're going to observe the person using the stairs. Maybe they don't even have an issue. But you can ask, do you have any issues with these stairs? Are you out of breath when you get to the top or the bottom? And this is how you're going to get their issues. They're going to tell you their issues. So we don't want to see clutter. We talked a lot about solutions to laundry if it is down a flight of stairs. Don't want to see things left on the stairs. So here's a perfect example. Railing only on one side, and then literally nothing to catch you if you fall. And other things we recommend are you can put, it's like a little color strip here. So, you know, if you have trouble finding where the end of the stair is, you can see it better. Just to talk about carpet on stairs, if the pile is too thick, you might not be able to find where the end of the stair is, especially if you've got some neuropathy. And just, you know, visibility-wise, it all kind of looks the same. So there's that to think about. There's no railing on the other side again. The curve there, often the stairs become different widths, and that's troublesome. How about this one? So we like to see backs to stairs, so that way your foot can't go through. Again, no railing, no color distinctions. Those look like pretty tall too. Yeah, and the railing looks a little high. You want the railing to be at a functional height to you, which again is going to be different to every person. And another thing is, if you ask them to go down the stairs, look at this, for example, depending on how big your hands are, you know, they say, I think 6.5 inches is a good estimate of how wide you want your railing to be. But again, that's going to depend on the comfort of the people who are living there. So we like these steps. You can see the color difference. There's railings on both sides. There's no clutter on them. There's a light switch, yep. You know, maybe one suggestion is putting something, maybe the flooring being different at the bottom, just so you know you're at the bottom kind of thing. Or, you know, encouraging them to count. That was a good idea. Somebody mentioned that before. So that brings us to the end of our tour, and just a couple other things to mention. Sharing your disabilities with the emergency medical EMD. What was that? Thank you. EMTs, yep. You can always call your town hall and talk to your emergency manager, and or if you live within 10 miles of Millstone, as some people do in this area, you get an annual card. Anyway, you just want to let them know about any disabilities you might have, any assistive devices you use, oxygen, or anything that requires electricity to save your life, essentially. And if you live alone and you have to evacuate, basically you get put on this list, and they'll call you before storms, see if you need anything, see if you need any help. Did I get that all? Is that you? Yeah. All right. Always a good idea, you know, tell your friends, tell your family, and tell the town. And then you're at the end, and you want to thank them for inviting you into their homes, because that's kind of the biggest battle we're finding. When people were coming around to us at fairs, you know, say, we have information on falls prevention. We'll come to your home. And as soon as we say that, they're like, no, like, I don't need you to come into my home. So definitely thank them for giving you that opportunity. And remember, don't scare them away. When we do the intake, we're going to ask, would you like any friends or family to be present for this? Because a lot of times it can be overwhelming, or just, you know, some people remember things better than others. And then you're going to share with us, meaning Ledgelight, your notes and your forms. You know, hopefully you can meet with us, or we can at least have a phone call to talk about what you saw at the home, specific things you think we should include in our letter to them. And then we're going to write a letter with basic recommendations with wordage like, have you considered, not, your railing is really unsafe and you need to replace it now. So, yes, we don't need you to spend too much money. There's simple fixes.